Kia ora and welcome to this episode of Chair Chats. Today is the 31st of July when we record this, and normally this is a chat with Rod Robson, who's the chair of our National Council, but today we have the chair of Mission Council, which is the board of our missionary agency called Arotahi, and the chair is Ruby Duncan. Now, the reason we have Ruby here today is because she is heading up the search process for our next national leader. And this episode is an update on that process. So welcome here today, Ruby. Nice to have you here.
Great to be here.
Now, can you tell us a bit about, firstly, why you were chosen to be the convener of this process for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually, because when I took on the chair of Missions Council, I didn't realise that would also put me on National Council. So I have also been part of National Council now for a couple of years, and very much in that thing. But I think some of the things that people have said to me, like I bring just such a wide background of experience. I've been 50 years in the Baptist movement, but in so many different parts of it. So a variety of local churches that Mick and I have been involved in. So local church we know. But also we've been in mission, we've been overseas, supported by Baptist churches. I have been in leadership of a Baptist social service. So I've done a lot of HR, done a lot of interviewing, and I am fascinated by the process of this kind of thing. Like, how do you get the right person in the right place at the right time? And I suppose, I'm very keen on good process that's very honouring to people and inclusive of us all. So I think those things were recognised, and so Rod tapped me on the shoulder and National Council asked me to do this job.
That's great. You're not doing this alone. Like, there's a whole search team, and you and your team have been at it for a long time, for months, I think, like several months, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about who else is on the search team?
Yeah, so we really wanted, of course, to have a kind of broad representation, although everyone's very clear that, they also are very much themselves, like they can't speak for all of the people that they might appear to represent. But we've got a pretty great team. So we've got Rangi Aru Hema, he is from Te Whāriki. We've got Daniel Choi, who's a pastor at Epsom, Chinese pastor. We've got Arnie Hall, and Arnie is a pastor of Nelson Baptist, well known in the movement, and he was actually on the last search committee, which is really helpful. Sarah Beasley, people know as someone who has been in leadership with the Royal Workshop overseas, but she's also on National Council at the moment. Eduardo Mendes. Now, Eduardo, actually, did I get his? I have got his last name wrong. Sorry, Eduardo. Eduardo is the pastor. He's Brazilian, and he's from the New Generation Church in Christchurch, and he's also on Missions Council. And then Elliot Rice, who's a pastor at Wellington Central. So these people all represent different spaces in the Baptist Union, lots of local church background, mission background, different ages, cultures, genders. So it's been a really robust group. Now, I will acknowledge that we don't have a representative of every sector. We don't have someone specifically from youth, for example. But we are very conscious also of those groups that we bring to the table. It's been a very robust group, a very honest group. People have shared very openly about what they think, and we've wrestled together. It's been a great time. Another thing I just want to say about myself, I love a good meeting. A meeting where everybody gets to say what they think. And that for me has been a heart of developing a search team that's really robust, where it's not about me. I can be, I can influence people, I know, but I want to really hear what they think. And that's how we discern the mind of Christ together.
It sounds like you've enjoyed this process, being with these people.
I think we all have. It's not been easy, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I think we have enjoyed interacting together from across the motu. We're all from different spaces. I tell you, at one point, we were talking with Rangi, and he was like, what's a tikanga process we can build in here? And we're all part of a little WhatsApp group. And he said, as Māori, we would go up the mountain. There's that sense of being closer to heaven, that sense of kind of seeking the mind of Christ. He said, we would go up the mountain together. And we said, well, we're all over the country. So we can't go up the same mountain, but we could go up a mountain at the same time. So we all agreed at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon to go up a mountain and pray. And we all sent, pictures of where we were and what the Lord was saying, what we were sensing. It was just a really special moment. So yeah, we've had some special moments together.
Wow. What have you been looking for in the next national leader for the Baptist Union of New Zealand?
Yeah, and of course, it's really important that that question was asked before we gathered, and so National Council, Missions Council, we also have gathered together and talked about what are we looking for? Various groups have talked about what are they looking for. And so there was a consultation paper. National Council asked for someone to kind of talk to various groups as well to gather all the thoughts. And it was pretty consistent around what it is we were looking for. I always say, in any recruitment process, you're looking for character, of course, especially in this role, people of high character. You're looking for competency. Now, when I talk about competency for this kind of role, I talk about level 4 leadership. So people can be leaders one-on-one, they can be an amazing brain surgeon and they just, change our lives with their great brain surgery. That's level 1 leadership. Then there's level 2, people who run teams. It's level 3, people who manage others, who do on the ground work, but they also have to create the environment around it. This is level 4. So this is people who can operate well on the ground, operate well as a team leader, operate well thinking about the whole environment that we need to create for safety and thriving, but also think big picture and strategic and 10 years ahead. So that's level 4 leadership. Then there's the specifics of that. So, you can read the job description, but I'm just going to pick out 4 things that I would kind of highlight as things we were looking for. We're a movement, not an organization. So yes, we have to operate organizationally. We have to operate within the law, and there's lots of stuff we need, policies and procedures. But essentially at heart, we're a movement that takes a unique leadership style. So we're looking for someone who has proven experience in being able to operate in that space where leadership is not about power, it's not about status, it's not about a position. It's a position, what we would say, of influence rather than power. There's a lot of push and pull in this role. If people don't trust you, if people aren't inspired by you, they can ignore you. So that's a unique kind of leadership style, and it's hard. It's a tough space, and leaders have found this a tough space. So we need someone who's resilient to be able to do that. Then there's this thing about change management. Now, we do need change. Every organization needs change. Every movement needs change, especially because we want to be responsive to what God is doing now and into the future. But good change management says, what do we need to keep? What must we hold on to? So we're looking for people who can say, these are things we must never let go of. These are at our core. This is our identity. What do we keep? What do we need to chuck? What does not serve us any longer? And they have the confidence and the boldness to work with us to say, hey, some things here just need to go. And then what needs changing? Not chucking out, but just adapting and changing. So we're looking for people who can demonstrate they've been able to do those 3 things and do them well and bring people with them, create harmony around the process of change. Third thing, we are looking for someone who's committed to our bicultural relationships. Very important to us. It has been for many years. We have not necessarily done it well. We have had missteps. It's a learning journey. It's not easy. It's challenging, but we are so enriched by that journey, all of us. And so we want someone who's absolutely committed to staying on that journey and making progress with that journey, that bicultural relationship. And lastly, I would say there is the complexity of the organism. People who can cope with multi-channels going at the same time. It's kind of the level 4 leadership, but we have a lot of intercultural, we have theological, we have sociological. I was listening to someone recently, they were saying there's more difference between generations now than there is across one generation around the world. Those stresses and strains intergenerationally and interculturally is a very complex environment. So people who can demonstrate they can manage that sort of stuff. But they will not be Jesus.
Yeah.
They will not be everything. They will not be able to bring all the things that we might love. And so are they also someone who will gather a team around them, who knows what they're not good at, who knows where they might misstep, and so they need others to strengthen and complement what they might bring. They've got to be a really strong team player. So I'd say those are our top things that we've been looking for.
That's really helpful, Ruby. Thank you. So how's it going at this point in time?
Yeah, well, I mean, the good and the bad is that we've had a really strong list of candidates. So we have been very much encouraged by the fact that a number of people put their names forward, put themselves forward to sense whether God was asking them and calling them into this space. So that actually created a bit of a dilemma for us, in that it was going to take a lot more time than we might hope. But we did have a two-step process. We had some initial interviews where we kind of needed to fine-tune it down to a shortlist of about 3. So we did that. We got our shortlist, and then they have been through an intensive interview process. And we have currently reached a point, after much discussion and consultation, of having a name that we will be putting forward to National Council this Saturday. So that was our time frame. And if we didn't reach it, if we weren't confident at this point, we would be honest about that. We're not just saying, oh, well, we better grab somebody, but we do feel confident that we have discerned who we believe is the right person for the next stage of our movement.
This Saturday that you mentioned with National Council, that's the 2nd of August. So
yes.
You'll be present because you're part of National Council as well.
Yes.
So there'll be engagement around that. What next?
Yeah, so if National Council discern with us that seems right to them, there are other groups that also need to be part of that key discernment and agreement, Missions Council being one, and Missions Council meet at the end of next week. So we'll be talking about that then. There are other key bodies, of course. You talk about people from Kerry, you talk about the staff who work closely with this person, talk about regional leadership in associations. These are all people that need to be consulted and talked with. And then there's, how do we process this with the wider movement? Now, we have this unique process, of course, where we ultimately vote at Hui. And a whole lot of people get to vote, but they need to know what they're voting for. They need to know who this person is, what they would bring, strengths, weaknesses, whatever it is. So we are looking at how we roll that out around the country and give people a good opportunity to hear from this person, interact with this person, ask their questions, talk about what's important to them. So a lot of things have been talked about and suggested, whether we do the roadshow, whether we do webinars. I think potentially a bit of both, because if we do a roadshow, people, not everybody can get to those. So I think there is a thirst and hunger for communication, lucky you, Mike, more than ever before. And we understand that. And it's multi-channel and it's multi-directional. And yet people, don't engage with all the channels. We know that it's just not easy. So we want to do our very best in all sorts of ways to communicate well with the movement, that they can feel engaged, that when we come to a final, I hope more like a sense of affirmation at Hui, that there is a sense of real support. This role is a role of mana. It's a role of influence. It's a role of trust. It's very important that this person has a real sense that the Hui, the movement, is with them and will work with them. So that's what we're aiming for.
And the Hui that you talk about is our Baptist National Hui, which is in the first week of November. So that's 3 months away. So there's plenty of time for people to engage with this process further.
Yes.
And so just things like this podcast, which the transcript will be published on the Baptist website. We'll send out an email update, the normal channels that people in Baptist churches can get information. these updates are going on those platforms. So as you say, the thirst for communication, we're doing what we can, the best we can, to try to keep people up to date with what's going on. So thank you, Ruby, for coming and chatting so that we can record this and share it in this way. If people are listening to this on a podcast platform, I encourage you to click follow, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or on the Baptist NZ app, so that when the next update comes, you'll get an alert in your latest episodes list that there's another update from the Baptist world, perhaps about the national leader. Ruby, is there anything else, any final words before we end this that you'd like to share?
Yeah, we've really appreciated, I've certainly appreciated people who have written to us, communicated with us to share thoughts and ideas. We need that, and we like the feedback. So keep feeding back to us, letting us know, giving us ideas so that we can be responsive to those. People have had some really great radical ideas. We may not be able to pull them all off, but hey, they're really worth thinking about and considering. So thank you very much to all of those who've engaged with this process thus far.
Thank you. Thanks, Ruby.